Hey everybody, welcome back. Today's really fun. Although for me, it's been a little bit of frustration as well, trying to get this self-driving car to work. Hopefully, you have a good experience. Your frustration is overcome by the joy of success. So let's take a look at the software we're going to be using. It's Vexos coding, or pardon me, Vex Coding Studio, and then we'll kind of look at the interaction between that and the actual self-driving vehicle. So let's go ahead and open it up. I'm just going to search for it, Vex Coding Studio, and we'll open her up and see what it looks like when we first crack it open here. All right, so let's see. First thing I'm going to do is make this a little bit bigger. Now, I think it's loading my previous project right here, which was, oh no, this is your start page right here. Let's just go over a couple things about the project. Keep in mind the project is still in beta development, beta testing. So, not everything is working perfectly. In fact, I've been having a hard time getting a lot of the activities to work. So I'm going to just mention which ones have been working and haven't been working for me, come up with a couple of workarounds for some. So anyways, we will get into that. Now, all right. So let's see. When we first open up the coding studio, we have something that looks like this. Now, the way you kind of interact with the files in the Vex Coding Studio is all done right here. You can rename it. So I'm just going to name this like first project or test project, whatever, first project. And we'll do that. And then we can go down here. We can save. We can start new projects. And browsing for projects is basically opening old projects. So let's just go ahead and save first project. We'll save that. Perfect. There we go. Now we have a list of blocks here that we're kind of used to seeing. And those, work pretty good. Similarly to MIT App Inventor, we have to declare variables before we can use them. Here, there's not a block that declares, but you have to click right here whether you want a number, a Boolean, a string, an array, or an event, and it all pops up right here. So let's I tell you what. First, let's just download. Make sure our communication with our robot is working. Make sure that we're seeing something, and then we can dive in to trying to get the coding to work for the self-driving car. So let's just change this to something that we will recognize to hello. Let's see, hello, handsome. Thank you. All right, and we will turn on our self-driving vehicle right here. Press that check button. Don't want to deal with that. Go ahead and save. I think we already saved, but just to be sure, we'll replace it. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to click this download button right here. So let's click the download button right there. And then in just a second, it should flash user download right here. And then you can see right here, now first project is showing. We can click the check mark and it says, hello, handsome. Why, thank you. So there we go. So now we've established a communication between the computer and the robot. So that's good. That's mostly working out. All right, so here we go. Our first challenge here, we want to drive from this block on our map. We want to go drive forward. We want to make a left. We want to make a right. We want to end up right there. So we want to, well, I guess we want to drive forward. We want to make a left. Then we want to drive forward. Then we want to make a right. Then we want to drive forward. Then we're there. So they kind of give us, some walkthroughs on how to accomplish this. Right here, when started, broadcast and wait, straight, left, straight, right, straight. There we go. Let me just show you guys, some of the things I figured out. And a big shout out to my class for helping me figure this out. I wanted to record this video, almost a week ago, but I just couldn't get it going myself. They kind of helped me out. We figured some things out together. So much appreciated that. That's, we're sharing all that knowledge with you guys now. So here we go. My event, if you want to add your events in, like a straight, and then you can add in left, you can add in right, and there we go. Now, when you want to do something like broadcast and wait, which is right here, now this pops up right here, and you can choose left, you can choose right, you can choose straight, and they're there because we've entered them in our variable and events box. So unfortunately, I have been unable to get this to work. This code right here presented by PLTW, I've been unable to get that to work in my self-driving vehicle, I've spent a good amount of time working with, both the blocks and the text view. I don't think any of my students have been able to do it either. So I'm just going to go ahead and recommend letting your intuition take over a little bit. You can find some commands that are pretty helpful, like motor spin forward, motor spin to 90 degrees, spin 490 degrees, motor stop, drive forward, turn, drive 4, turn 4, stop. Those are pretty useful. Those are pretty useful, along with perhaps even the wait command. If you want to time something out, like drive forward for a certain amount of seconds, those are pretty helpful right there. So using some combination of these blocks and even clicking over here and looking at the text-based coding, you'd probably be able to figure it out. One thing I will show you is this. Where is it? Motor.spin, or motor. Let's just do this. Motor.spin forward. There are two motors. One controls motor 1 is the left motor. So if you're looking at it this way, I guess this is motor 1. This one is motor 2 on the right hand side of the vehicle when the vehicle is facing forward. Now, if you want to do those, you have to edit them in text blocks. So you have to come over here and type in motor 2, and then if you go back to your block, you can see it's established as motor 2. So there are two motors. You have to change that using your text-based coding. There's a couple other things that are easier to do using the text-based feature right over here. Okay, so there are a few, different pattern challenges. When you get to these, make sure to use loops or repeats or something to make your code as efficient as possible, right? Like we want to eventually know how to algorithmically drive the car without relying on programming each step individually, because that's going to be unsustainable ultimately in a self-driving car, right? You need to just specify a destination, then have the car figure out how to get there. So what you want to do is try to use the loops, the repeats to get these. And then from there, we can pretty much move on, I think, down to arrays. Arrays are pretty interesting things to look at. What they are is variables that can hold multiple pieces of data, right? So typically in Vex, a variable can store one value. It can store a number. It can store a Boolean, a true or a false, a 0 or a 1. I guess that would be a 1 or a 0 because 1 is true, 0 is false. It can store a string, which is a chunk of text, or it can store an array. Now, an array is multiple items, right? Multiple items organized into a list. Now, if you think about it, we actually used an array earlier in MIT App Inventor, but we actually called it a list at that time. Making the interview database, we had a list of questions. So we had 3 or 4 or 5 different strings stored in there, and we used an index variable to keep them organized. Okay, so we're going to have a similar thing happening here in the self-driving vehicle as well. So we're going to open this up, and this is actually going to be an arrays project. I think I might just, for the sake of time, this video is probably going to be long. I'm just going to open up an old video that I made on arrays right here. So interesting. Okay, cool. We'll take it. So this is arrays. And the first thing we want to do is we want to enter in a number variable that's our index right here. And we'll just set that equal to 0, which is the default. Then we want to enter in an array, a 1D array. We want it to be six numbers long. So we will set the length right here to 6, and then we'll click save. I already have it. We're going to name it first array. Like I said, I already have it, so I'm going to click cancel. And then the numbers we want to type in there are 8, 3, 7, 4, and I think the last two are 1 and 5. So there we go. We can print that out, we can enter in our array. Now the goal is to print out each value of the array. So we want to print out 8, then 3, then 7, then 4, then 1, then 5. So now the way to do this is like this, and I believe this is a little bit different. We want to print your array, so we tell the user we're printing their array. Then we want to do a new line. Then we're going to do another print again. And here's where we're going to switch over to text-based coding. Now, I believe I am on, right. So now what they recommend doing here, which I was also unable to get to work, I'm not sure, maybe one of the super brains at PLTW can figure this out for me, why it's not working. Basically, you want to use a while loop. So you want to count, up to 6, and you want to print one piece at a time. I was unable to get that to work. Basically, I think the problem is that my variable, I can't add and I can't modify the variable. Anyways, I couldn't get the code to work. Here is the workaround I came up with. We're just going to print, instead of hello, we're just going to print our array value. So let's see. Okay, you know what? I'm going to try it without comparing the code just to see if we can do it. So let's see. We'll do print. Now we definitely don't want quotes because we're not printing a string. We're not printing some text out. We're going to print out first array. And right in here, we're going to put the index variable right here, which is going to be, not 1, but 0. So we're going to start at 0. And then I'm going to actually, to save some time, I'm going to come over here to this. All right, you know what? I tell you what, let's just save this. We'll save that, replace it, no problem. We'll download it. Click X here, download it. Okay, arrays now popped up. I'm going to check it out. Okay, now it just says 8 here, but that's good because we've only printed 1. So now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and copy this. And actually, I better copy the space as well. So let me make it a little bit easier. And then, oh, that didn't work. Okay, interesting. So we'll just, okay, now it did work. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then we'll just change this to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there we go. Again, let's try not saving it just to see what happens. Let's just download it and see if it works. User download. Okay, good. That's always a good sign. If you see a download, then you know you probably don't have, at least no critical failure errors in your coding. If you do have critical failure errors, you can come up here and I would recommend unchecking the other box. So just your errors pop up, but this bar is actually slidable. So you can see errors, it can also give you status updates if you're interested in seeing that. Sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. But anyways, there you go. I don't know if you can see the screen, but it does show our array being entirely printed out there. Okay, so that's how you kind of access the data stored in the array. Okay, so I think we have a couple more things to do, actually quite a few more things to do here. So we're going to create a math array this time that can store 3 elements, 5, 1, and 3. And so we'll do that. Let's see. Let's go back to our blocks now. Oh, we are in blocks. Okay. Let's create another array. And we'll call it math array. Go ahead. And this is a 3 length. Perfect. Okay. And now I'm going to edit my values right here. I think it's 5, 1, and 3. There we go. So we have math array right there. Let's go ahead and get rid of that since we're not using it anymore. And let's see. Okay. Now, what we want to do, we want to create a program that will add all the values held within a math array. And I did earlier, I spent a while trying to figure this one out as well. Probably the ideal way to do this would be to create a variable and then add all of the values together on the variable and get it to work. Like I said, I can't really figure out how to set a variable equal to something. There's no variable block in here. And every time I try to just enter that manually into the text, everything goes to a bad place. So what I figured out, another workaround I figured out, is to go ahead and just add it up in your print window. So if you just print this right here, instead of hello, if we just go ahead and use our same syntax from last time, kind of regret throwing it away now, could have just copied and pasted. But, I guess it's good to practice typing. Oh, you know what? I couldn't have done that anyways because I have the math array now. And I'm just going to add up the math array index 0 with the math array index 1, and so on and so on. So I'm going to let you guys figure that out. So what your requirements are for this part, I want you to get the math array plus working, and then get it working with minus, subtracting, and multiplying. You can try messing around with like creating a second array and seeing if you can add all of the numbers together. So do some stuff like that to kind of mess with the array feature. Now we get into two-dimensional arrays, which are really cool as well. Basically, let's take a look at a two-dimensional array back in our blocks right here. Let's add another array right here. We're going to make it a 2D array. And since our mat that we drive the vehicles on is a 5x5, we're going to make this array a 5x5 array. And we'll save it. Okay, so there we have it, and they're all zeros at the beginning. You can see there's kind of like 5 sub arrays. So each one is sort of like, it goes, there's sub array 1, sub array 2, sub array 3, sub array 4, sub array 5. So we have kind of 5 miniature arrays inside of one array. It gives you this activity really right here, which seems really cool, of how to get it to show a smiley face. Basically, by printing a certain character if there's a 1 in an array. If there's not, then it prints a space. I was unable to get that to work. You should try it out, see if you can get it to work. Give me a comment. Let me know how awesome you are if you can get it to work. Then you can program this grid right here. And you can see the obvious usefulness of this, right? Like basically what we want to do is we want to be able to have the car be able to scan for an open spot, drive there, and park there. Again, I'm having these same problems where I can't use variables. I can't modify variables within the code. So I can't figure out how to do that or doing donuts. We can come down here to map it and drive it. And I want you guys to create 9 different grids right here. Is that worth it? Okay, well, anyways, you can look at this. This is some more driving challenges for us to do. I'm going to try to figure out a way to use arrays to do this and like scan through if else statements. But for now, this can just be some more fun driving challenges for us to try to map out once we're done with our array practice. I believe in lesson 4, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we can, get some solutions to our variable problem, or we can find some more workarounds for the wave front algorithm, which helps us find, the easiest way to a goal. Should be really cool once we can get it going. Anyways, I think I'll end the video there. Thank you guys for watching, and good luck.